Papa Jeff's America program is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Thank you. If you'd like to buy Papa Jeff a cup of coffee, visit us on the web at coffee.papajeffusa.com, because you know how much Papa Jeff loves his coffee. Papa Jeff's America, the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. It's talk radio time from Houston, Texas, broadcasting around the country and around the world. Welcome to the Papa Jeff's America program. We're the talk radio podcast that discusses the stuff and things that you want to talk about. The talk radio podcast continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Inspiring guests, insightful commentary, and what would a day be without Papa Jeff's classic old guy humor, right? So, here's the guy that has trouble seeing the big E on the eye chart. The guy that some would say has a unique sense of humor, and the guy that definitely has a face for radio. Here's Mr. Here We Go himself, PG the OG, Papa Jeff. Welcome to Papa Jeff's America. The Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. I'm Papa Jeff, and this is Papa Jeff's America. Today on the broadcast, Let's Talk is the new book about making your life exciting, easier, and exceptional. Now, you're probably saying things like, I've done this before, or what do I have to do to follow this program, etc., etc., etc. And that would be a natural way to think, but I think you're going to change your mind after you hear my conversation with Art Rios. Practicing attorney and author in St. Petersburg, Florida, he strongly believes that whether you're 18 or 80, it's never too late to make the most of your life. Now that just makes sense. Let's talk with Art Rios coming up. The Papa Jeff's America program, we are the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Here's today's fun coffee fact, according to goodhousekeeping.com. Multiple people have tried to ban coffee. Back in 1511, leaders in Mecca believed it stimulated radical thinking and outlawed the drink. Some 16th century Italian clergymen also tried to ban coffee because they believed it to be satanic. However, Pope Clement VII loved coffee so much that he lifted the ban and had coffee baptized in 1600. Even as recently as the 18th century, the Swedish government made both coffee and coffee paraphernalia, including cups and dishes, illegal, for it supposedly had ties to rebellious sentiment. Well, I'd be in real trouble, I guess, then, because I've got a coffee mug collection that just won't quit. And there you go, today's fun coffee fact. It's a cloudy 74 degrees with scattered showers at the Talk OG studios in H-Town, Space City, Houston, Texas. We are the city with no limits. We are Houston strong. Coming up for us after the break, we're going to Tampa, St. Pete. Let's talk with Art Rios. Next. The Papa Jeff's America program is on the air. Anytime, any device. PapaJeffUSA.com. And welcome back. He is a trial lawyer by profession, a student of humanity by choice, and a friend to all by nature. He strongly believes that whether you're 18 or 80, it's never too late to make the most of your life, and that he, of whom we speak, is Mr. Art Rios, and he's with us today. Counselor, I am honored, sir. Welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure's mine, Papa Jeff. I really look forward to our talk. It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
I have definitely been looking forward to it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Sure.
I've read your not your works per se, but I've read your bio and seen your videos, and you are definitely, if not definitely one of the most inspiring people that I have seen in a long time, with COVID times that we're starting to come out of, and what's been going on politically and just in things in our country. Staying positive is so important,
Definitely.
and I like to say that I live vicariously through your positiveness and your mindfulness as well, because it's you have helped me as along as well, and I appreciate that.
Well, that's kind of you. That's what we got to do. We got to help each other, man, and make sure that we realize that every day on this earth is going to be wonderful. I mean, no day's ever going to be perfect, Papa. But there's always. I always say the sun will not set without some joy in every single day, and we just have to be on the lookout for it and not be worrying about the clouds so much.
I think you're absolutely right, and I've always been, except when I'm not, I've always been the glass half full
Uh huh.
kind of person. Hard to be that way sometimes.
It is.
Real easy to be the opposite way. I mean,
Sure.
it's hard to be happy sometimes. You have to work at it,
Oh,
and
definitely.
but you get out of life, I think, what you put into it. And there's
Hmm.
a couple of things I know we're going to talk about that you have said in your book, and but we'll get to that. So Tampa St. Pete in
Yes.
Florida, is that kind of where things all got started? Have you been there the whole time, or is
Pretty
that
much.
just
I was born in Puerto Rico, but we moved here when I was. So I always say I'm a real Southern boy because that's about as Southern as it gets.
it's about as
But
southern as you can get? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Puerto Rico is it. But no, we moved to this area when I was very young. My mom and dad brought us up here. My dad's an attorney as well, and we've been here since 1976. So honestly, this is home, and I love it. It's probably one of the most beautiful places in the world. I cannot think. I was actually having some friends over to the house this weekend, and we were talking about. We just couldn't think of living anywhere else. St. Pete is just beautiful.
That's awesome. It's kind of how we feel about Houston right now. I told you the kind of the story earlier that
Hmm.
we moved from Reno, Nevada,
Right.
and I like to say that we traded the snow for the 9,000% humidity. I don't know how that relates. I mean, I know how the eastern side of Florida is. I don't know how the Tampa
Oh,
side
buddy,
is.
I think we're at 9,000% too. We
Okay.
can we can go mano a mano on that one.
And here, of course, there's the bugs that are big enough that you can put saddles on and you can ride them.
Absolutely.
I have
Yep.
seen some bugs that are scary looking bugs. I have no idea what they are. And then of course we have the occasional rain event,
Right.
hurricanes and such. But
Yes.
overall, and we really do enjoy it here. And we have family that's still back in Nevada, and they ask us almost on a daily basis, why do you live there? And because we enjoy it. And there
There
are
you go.
those days that you do have to look for the enjoyment, but we do enjoy it here. It's
Exactly.
drivers are crazy.
Yeah.
I grew up in Los Angeles, and I thought if you could drive in Los Angeles, you could drive anywhere,
Hmm.
which I still think is true until I got to Houston. And oh my goodness, it's and Houston is big, obviously, and we found out when we moved here that people say that Houston is an hour away from Houston,
Uh,
and it really is. You 30 minutes to everywhere. And my mother-in-law, and I love her to death. She moved here for a very short time. I want to say she gave it 2 weeks and she moved back.
wow.
She it was part of the master plan that she was going to move here and we were all going to get a place and such. And
Uh-huh.
and I mean, I give her credit. She gave it a solid 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
it just
But I
didn't.
don't know, man. You got to get a little bit more.
A little bit more. It just didn't work for her.
Right.
It's big city as opposed to Reno, small town.
Of
And
course.
so, but if it works for you, that's great. And it does work for us. And we love it here. So I'm glad that St. Pete is great and working for you and your family. I know you're still practicing law.
I am, yes.
And I don't know where you find time to write or actually do anything. I guess you just kind of have to make the time.
Well, I'm going to tell you, actually, I got that from your namesake, to be quite frank. Old Papa Hemingway he's my favorite author. And the thing is, with Hemingway, everybody gets caught up in the myth of the man, but the reality is, when you really study the way he did things, you'd go like, well, that, that's interesting. Wouldn't have thought that. Well, he would wake up every morning at the crack of dawn, literally at sunrise, and then he would work, write, and he wrote standing up, which was interesting. There were no stand-up desks or anything. So, and he would write until he thought, that was enough for that day. He'd usually end around 11 or noon. So he had a saying, done by noon and drunk by 3. Well, unfortunately, I can't do that, but I have made the habit of getting up early. And I'm going to tell you, I don't read an email. I don't look at the news. I get up, jump from bed, and I have an office at home, and I go in there, close the door, and I actually, to be honest with you, Pop, I don't write. I dictate, because I'm a talker, right? Lawyers promise getting us to shut up. So I love to just do an outline of whatever I want to write about. And of course, my research, I just put in an outline, sit down, and just blab away. Of course, I do edit it later, so it won't be just rambling. But I've gotten into the discipline of doing it every morning, and it's wonderful, man. Because first, you get a lot done. Number one, number two, it's a great way to start your day. And then after that, hop in the shower and then come to the office. But thankfully, everybody here, it's like a family here at this office, and everybody's very supportive, and they've made my life a little bit easier so that I can pursue the writing. But it's been incredible. Papa, the friends I've made, people just emailing me, which is, I really, the name of the book is called Let's Talk. And I did that purposely because I do want to talk to people. And I asked them in the book to send me an email, even if they think I'm full of crap, it's fine. Which I actually appreciate those conversations because it helps me, maybe refine my viewpoint or theirs. But oh man, the messages I've gotten, the emails I've gotten from readers, it's been awesome. And I feel like I've made all these new friends. Incredible experience. And it's also, even though I said it in the book, but it's actually happened, whether you're 18 or 80, it's never too late to enjoy life. And I've actually had emails from people in their early teens that are just finishing college or in college. And I've gotten a few from people that are retired that are saying, wait a minute, I wasn't looking at this right, or my perspective isn't on. So I just feel blessed, man, that it's gone the way it has, and all the friends I've made, including Papa Geoff.
Yes, sir. And right back at you. Definitely. The book is called Let's Talk. It's about making your life exciting, easier, and exceptional. It is available on Amazon or at your website, riostalks.com. We're going to have the link on our website and on our show notes. And there's also a link on your website, riostalks.com, where you can get 2 free chapters. Hint, hint. Yes. So definitely need to do that. Now, in your bio, you advocate for the revival of genuine conversation as a way to connect with others. And I think that I don't think, at least my experience has been, is having, I think we've lost the art of face-to-face conversation.
Absolutely. Oh no, there's no doubt. And it's a shame.
We just, and when I say we, I mean, I suppose I'm speaking of you and I as well, although more from our generation, shall we say, and you, that's what you had. We didn't have devices. We didn't have, you couldn't get whatever you wanted at whatever time you wanted it, however you wanted it. The old commercial from Burger King, have it your way. That's kind of how everything is right now.
Exactly.
And just having a conversation with someone, looking at someone in the eyes and having a conversation. And you note in your bio that we're able to connect with others to expand our minds, improve our world, and get more enjoyment and satisfaction from life. And we just, is that generational, or what is it?
Well, I mean, I think the culprit is technology, and I'm always hesitant to say that because I don't want anybody to think that I'm anti-technology. I think technology is wonderful, but in the book I write about, there's the comparable that I make is that there's a guy with a drone, right, and the drone's out there flying all over. It's happier than heck, and the guy's stuck to a screen. So who's really having the most fun? The drone that's out there is flying. So I really think the problem is technology, which is wonderful, but if we can tame it, then we can go back to having good old fashioned, eye to eye conversations where you're not just listening to what the person is saying, you're seeing, the look in their eyes, the body language, and it makes all the difference in the world. And I think it brings you closer as well. So a lot of the things I talk about in the book is about making sure we can tame technology. I'll give you a simple example is, when I get home, if I'm working at my office or if I'm working from my home office, when I'm done at 5, this is going off. It's turned off. The cell phone, if I'm in the car coming from the office, it actually stays in the car. Now I do have a little way that I cheat a little bit on that one. I'll tell you in a minute. But the reality is that when I'm home at that point, I'm there to be with my wife. My 2 girls are up in college, so they're not home, but my wife is waiting for me. There's a chapter in the book called Happy Hour, which everybody seems to love. Well, it's happy hour. It's time to come home, relax. But there's not going to be any technology. There's not going to be any news on TV. Maybe some music, or I have a little playlist in our home where just nice smooth jazz. But it's a matter of winding down, relaxing, no technology. Now, people are saying, "Oh, how can I disconnect? I have kids and all that." Okay, well, I do have a cheat phone, and I call it my emergency line, but it's a simple old-fashioned flip phone. If my girls need to reach me or my wife, when we're relaxing at home, they can call that number. But that's like pretty much the bat line. There's nobody else is going to call that number, and you completely step away from technology for a little bit, and it's freeing. It's just that people are afraid to do it.
And I get it of why we are afraid to do it, but we just need to do it. And
Right.
I completely agree with you. And I know my wife and I, of course, the date nights that used to happen now with COVID have changed somewhat, and
Right.
we're looking forward
Right.
in getting back to that. And
Right.
I think the disconnecting, and they say in relationships that when conversation stops, when
Mhm.
conversation breaks down, that's when the trouble starts, and that's true.
There's
If
no doubt. There's
if
no doubt.
and just look at it in general life, when countries stop
Of
talking to each
course.
other,
There you
world
go.
leaders,
Right.
husbands and wives, friends in general,
Right.
when communication stops, then it's a problem. And I think conversation, even in our digital age, and I love technology as
Mhm.
much as the next guy, absolutely, but I've even had personally some situations with text messages and things where, and I'm pretty good at the King's English, if you will. But even I've said some things in text messages, which, oops, that's not really what I
Yep.
wanted to say. And the response I got back was, oh my gosh, that's not really what I said, but it is what I said. Because when you
Exactly.
don't have it's hard to put different inflection and
Sure.
seeing the person that's saying it. And so I think we work against ourselves sometimes as well.
Oh, I mean, there's no doubt, and I'm glad you mentioned the whole issue with the pandemic because, I mean, first of all, to all your listeners, if you've lost a loved one to the pandemic, I mean, my heart bleeds for you. So don't get what
Yes.
I'm about to say wrong, but you did mention that I am an optimist, and I think that there has been a lot of good that has come out of this pandemic in a very rough way. The universe has a tough way of teaching us our lessons, but if anything, it's brought people closer together. We have to talk to each other because for a while there, we were locked up in the house.
Mhm.
And I think it's also made us realize how important human contact is, because when you're doing it daily and you kind of take it for granted, then it's no big deal. But all of a sudden, when you can't see your friends or your coworkers, family, relatives, and all of a sudden you understand how important it is, and how precious it is to spend time with them. So I think that once we're out of the worst of this, I think people will. I mean, again, that's the positive in me, but I think you'll walk down the street and you'll see people eating, at restaurants outside. You'll see. I expect that you'll see happy faces. I think people will be. There'll be more joy in running into friends, into neighbors. I think even neighbors will get along better. I mean, we've helped each other through this, of course. So, I mean, this has been a very tragic thing, but again, nature has a very interesting way of keeping us in check. And if anything, I think that is, for me, the great thing that will come out of this pandemic is that humans will want to interact with each other again, and not rely so much on technology because you're fed up with it.
I would agree. One of the things that I noticed early on with masking up and such is that I love to talk to people, but you make eye contact with someone and someone will say something or someone will do something and you'll smile
Yep.
or you'll grin
Yep.
or you're whatever. And I realized that I was doing that, but the
Hmm.
person that I was doing it at didn't know I was doing it
Right.
because my face was covered up.
Well, I've
And
tried to learn, or I have learned to smile with my eyes, because
yeah,
I think that smiling, is a very important thing with your friends and with anybody. I even smile at dogs on the street. So you learn to do it with your eyes. But no, I know what you're saying, man. It's a completely different, mode of communication, because you're not getting the whole message.
absolutely. One of the things that I know I did back in my paramedic days was when you contacted someone, and of course I was the older paramedic in the crew, and a lot of the folks that we dealt with were older folks, and sometimes my partner being younger, and I used to joke that the hiring age at the agency was 12. Of course it's not, but everybody to me as I was getting older looked like they're 12. And
Right.
my partner would handle the younger kids depending on what the type of call was, and I handled the little bit older folks. And because the older folks could generationally, if you will, they could look at me and I could say, hey, here's what I think we need to do. I'm going to take care of you.
Right.
You're going to be okay.
Right.
Or in the case of where I didn't know if they're going to be okay, because you're not supposed to, you don't want to give someone a false hope or whatever. I'm going to do everything I can. We're going to
Right.
do everything we can for you. And that was the kind of medicine that I like to practice. A lot of the younger folks, they like live fast, die young, blah blah.
Right.
Let's go take care of the big car accident where the people are really, really, really injured. And I had to do that too, and
Sure.
I was good at it. But I enjoyed the type of medicine where I would be taking care of grandma. She's having the heart attack. We know she's having the heart attack. We're giving her medication. We're trying to do everything we can, and just be able to go along and hold her hand on the way to the hospital, and
Hmm.
she knew that someone was there for her. And
You're being
that's
humane. I
that's
mean,
what I enjoy doing, because
say,
that's what makes me the people person.
oh, yeah, but there you go. Because and it's not, people say, well, you have to be human. No, you have to be humane, and that's
Yes.
what we're doing. We're being kind. It's another one of the chapters in my book. It's flat out on kindness. How
Mhm.
important kindness is, and you were just making it very easy for that person in a very difficult moment, or at least as easy as you could. And if you think about it, why is it so hard to be kind? I that baffles my mind. It's not. It's extremely easy.
And I agree with you. It's actually harder
Yes.
or more difficult to be mean, because you
Exactly.
actually have to think about it. You have
Yes.
to you have to use those facial muscles to
Yes.
frown. You
Yep.
don't have to use
Yep.
those to smile. And
Yeah, that's right. And
yeah,
not only that, I mean, you've got to feel bad. I don't care, what kind of a human being you are. When you're mean to somebody, there's no way you can feel good about it. So it's gonna drag you down as well. I just honestly, I just don't get it. And it's so simple to be kind. I mean, that's human nature, is to be kind and to have a heart. So I don't get people that have a difficulty with that. It's really easy.
you have I can't remember if it was in your bio or in a section of the book that you said that, or it talks about life starts at retirement. And I think, as I can recall, because I only made a quick note about it here, but in my experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think where you were going with that was that you need to not necessarily wait to
Right.
do the good stuff. Do the good stuff
Absolutely.
all the time. And just speaking
Sure.
for me personally, I had told you that my first wife had passed away, and when we were younger, when we actually grew up together, because we got married, I was 20, she was 21,
Hmm.
and we had 3 kids together, and we were married for 37 years when she passed. And we didn't wait till retirement, quote unquote, to start doing things, because if we had,
You'd have
whoops,
nothing then.
yeah, that wouldn't have happened. So we did, we when we were younger, we got a motorhome and we lived the paycheck to paycheck, and we traveled and we went here and we took our kids here and we took our kids there.
Awesome.
And that's just, I think there are so many people, and with our economy and with the different generations that aren't having kids now so much, and they're focusing on their careers, and I get all that, but
Sure.
you don't know what you got until it's gone, and it can change. I speak from experience. It can change in a just a blink of an eye.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why. See, I live life. I have I call the daily triple eight. Okay, and it's very simple. And if you think about it, that's God or the force or the universe. The way everything happens is for a reason. So we have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
My daily triple eight couldn't be easier. I work 8 hours. I'm going to sleep 8 hours. And then I'm going to play 8 hours because I have those 8 hours. And I don't know why people have forgotten that we have 8 hours every single day to enjoy our lives. Where did that message get lost that it's all work, 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 and then sleep and not sleep well? When I'm working, I am working, brother. When I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. And when I'm playing, you can figure out that it's going to be a heck of a good time. Now, I'm not talking about being crazy and debauchery or anything like that. Everything can be done with moderation, but you do it every day because, like you said, if anything, this pandemic has taught us that life can change in a heartbeat, right?
Yes.
So why put off enjoying life for some uncertain future when you know what? You may not be able to enjoy life. You may not be able to eat, the foods that you want to eat now. You may not be able to go on a long trip. You may not be able to have a couple glasses of wine because it won't sit right with you. So I think you enjoy every single day, but it's broken down into those 3 8 hours segments or slots that are just perfect. The day is perfect to enjoy life. So why put it off? And it's easy. All you have to do is say, "Oh, yeah, that's true." You're working 8 hours anyway. Why are you going to want to work more if you focus solely on those 8 hours of work? Now, if you start going on social media and you start, hanging around the water cooler, or, you waste time, you get on the internet, well, then, yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you didn't get everything you had to done. But if you focus on those 8 hours, man, when it's playtime, it's go time. And you go home, kiss your wife. If your kids are home, you kiss them, kiss the dog if you want, have a drink, and do whatever else you want to do that day. There's so much to do. It's so much to do in life. And in the book, I talk about pursuing pleasures. And what's important about that chapter, it sounds probably a little naughty. It's got nothing to do with that. Is that you define your own pleasures. You may want to, some people may want to do a little gardening. That's great. Some people want to do Tai Chi. Very good. I love to fish. I love to play golf. I love to shoot, shooting clays. I'm not much of a hunter. I don't believe in killing those poor animals, but there's so much that we can do. And it's whatever you want, not what you're being told on TV that you should be doing. Because I think that's part of the problem too. And go outside. We forgot that there's a beautiful world out there. Go outside and do something, even if it's just sitting on the grass and having a glass of wine with your loved one or with your friends, man. But we've got to enjoy life every single day because, Papa, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We have no idea.
Absolutely. You're only guaranteed the moment that you're in.
That's it. That's why it's called the present, because it's a gift.
Absolutely. And I love what you talk about you talked about earlier today, the logging off. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Putting technology aside, and happy hour as well. I follow all of your social media, and again, it's so positive, the things that you put on there. And we actually we chatted a little bit by email the other day when I told you I was having my voice was was getting really raspy and having a problem. And I got to tell you guys, of course, Papa Geoff and his coffee, and so Papa goes and gets another cup of decaf, and Art wrote me back. He says, "Well, a couple of scotches helps with that too." So
may not cure it, but after a couple of them, you won't care. So
I have the right to remain silent on that, and I think I'm going to exercise my right. But
there you go. No worries.
You've got to be positive, and that's you and I talked about before that this podcast started off as all political, and it's not apolitical now, but we just talk about more positiveness and more mindfulness and more let's take care of each other. And disagree doesn't mean dislike. It doesn't. Not everybody's going to agree on everything, but we're all in this together. We
Uh-huh.
really are. Some people
Yep.
will say we're not. Yes, we really are.
Yep.
And we need to watch out for each other and take care of each
Absolutely.
other. It doesn't take much. It really
Nope.
doesn't. And
Nope.
we got to take care of ourselves too. Absolutely. And I like your triple eights that we have to do that. And
Yep.
it's been my experience as well. The 8, 8, and 8 in my paramedic days, I had to adjust that a little bit because
Mhm.
there was 12, and then there
Right.
was, okay, now I got the remaining
Sure.
12. And I mean, there's always going to be adjustments. And
Oh, sure.
we actually had some of my friends that still work for that service. I don't know if they still have 16-hour shifts.
Oh, jeez.
They did, and I worked them for a week and thought I was going to die.
Oh, that's
I
crazy. That's
said,
tough.
no, you worked 3 16s and then you were done for the
Oh,
week.
oh,
And hey, that's great if you're in your 20s. But at
right.
the age that I was, that didn't work because the first day I had off was just I slept all day.
Oh, yeah.
So no,
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So, but 8,
Mhm.
8, and 8, it's so true. We need
Yep.
to watch out for each other. We need to take care of each other, and we need to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And it will all definitely fall in place. So your book is out there. Is this your first work or your second work
My
or
first. It's my first, and have a second one that's coming out soon. Working on the third. And like I said, it's just when you wake up and the first thing you do is feel gratitude. That we're alive.
yeah.
It's very easy to be positive when you're putting words out. And not only that, like I said, it just puts me in a great frame of mind. But like you, I do believe that people want to be positive. I think the problem is that we've forgotten how. It was funny. I was doing an interview the other day, and the gentleman says, "So, do you consider yourself to be a guru?" And I said, "Oh my God, no! That's the last thing I don't want to be anybody's guru, but I'd love to be everybody's friend,
Yes.
because all we need to do is kind of remind each other. What I talk about in the book, all the suggestions, and I call them talks instead of chapters, because
Yeah.
I want them to be conversations. All the talks in the book, they're universal tenets. That, I mean, these are thoughts that have been around for thousands and thousands of years, but now I just need to prod people in the right direction to get them thinking about it. This is one of these self-help books where you have to walk, through hot coals, or there's a system that you have to follow, and checklist and schematics and stuff like that. No, I mean, it couldn't be easier. It's just you think about it and you go, yeah, you can implement it in your life. There's some things you don't have to agree with, and that's perfectly fine. Because again, I believe that you have to be yourself. I think we're all unique, and not everything is going to be perfect for everybody. But if I can, I mean, I think just one of the talks from the book will definitely get your life to be a heck of a lot easier. It'll be exciting. It'll be exceptional, because that's the way I designed it. But we just need to start thinking about these things again. They're in our mind. They're in our souls. We've just forgotten them.
I agree with you completely. And guys, you need to follow Art's social media. He is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under Rios Talks. You can also follow him on his website, riostalks.com. He will answer your email, I promise.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
art@riostalks.com, art, A-R-T, at riostalks.com. The book is Let's Talk. It's on Amazon and also at his website, riostalks.com. And don't forget the link on the website for the 2 free chapters. You're going to love it. Art, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Definitely,
Oh,
please come and see us again and let us know
anytime,
how
anytime.
this.
And thank you for what you're doing, man. This is how it works. Okay, it's the snowball where we talk to each other, and here we are. You're two guys, and I know you got a bunch of people listening to you, but it's that snowball effect that we want. And what'll happen? Hopefully today, somebody's listening when on their way home, they're gonna smile at whoever's in the car next to them, or they're gonna show a kindness to somebody, or just go home and turn off the phone and spend a good solid time with their loved ones. It's just a matter of getting the word out, brother. And I know it sounds hokey and cheesy, but the world can be a better place, man. It's easy. It's really easy. It's in our hearts.
Absolutely. Smiles are contagious.
Yes.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yes.
We do, like I said, we definitely hope you come back on and see us. Let us know how the
Anytime,
book is
brother.
going. Definitely let us know on any feedback that you're getting of what you heard from here.
Absolutely.
Um, It's been an honor, Counselor. Thanks so much. Cheers, my friend.
Pleasure has been mine, man. And you stay happy and healthy. All right, brother?
All right, my friend. Take care. Guys, this is the
Talk to you
Papa Jeff's
soon.
America program. We are the Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation one podcast at a time. Thanks for joining us today for the Papa Jeff's America program. Check out more episodes of the Talk Radio Podcast at papajeffusa.com. You can subscribe through the link on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all the major platforms. papajeffusa.com is your home for everything Papa Jeff. Anytime, any device. And while you're there, you can check out more episodes of the broadcast, check out the OG Corner, get in contact with us, and you can easily link to all of our social media. We do want to hear from you. Your thoughts, comments, and suggestions are what make this program happen. So send us an email on our website, papajeffusa.com. Please help us to get the word out and share our broadcast on all of your social media, because sharing is caring. And speaking of caring, if you'd like to help us coffee up here at the Talk Radio Podcast, give a click to the Buy Me a Coffee link. You know how much Papa Jeff loves his coffee. Hey guys, remember to wear a mask if you're going out. Practice that social distancing. Wash your hands frequently. Get the vaccine when it's your turn. And let's all do the right thing and take care of each other. Remember, disagree doesn't mean dislike. We're all in this together. Thanks again for joining us, and bring a friend with you next time. We're looking forward to seeing you next time on the Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time.